thoughts are misfiring, I can't hide it anymore. There's too many voices, a sky full of pictures. There's a taxi cab river raging by my open door. Off to find Arcadia, off to find Arcadia, off to find Arcadia. Infinite faces hiding out in the open. Yeah, nature feels broken. Tell me why we gotta disobey. Oh, the city won't let go. I've been hurt since the cradle. Yeah, it feels like betrayal to burn through the barricades. Off to find Arcadia, off to find Arcadia, off to find Arcadia. Somewhere high upon a hill, a poet conjures up a flame. Had to face the wilderness, had to cross the mountain range. It was worth the sweat and blood, just to hear the gods rejoice, just to hear the gods rejoice. Off to find Arcadia, off to find Arcadia, off to find Arcadia.
The name of that song is titled Arcadia, and it is the title cut of the 7th album from my special guest today, Jesse Terry. Jesse, welcome to the Friday Afternoon Music Mix.
Thank you so much, Greg. Thanks for having me.
I received your album from your radio promoter, Matt, and fell in love with it right away. And I said, is there a possibility we could have Jesse on the show? And he said, absolutely. Here you are, and I'm really glad to have you here. I'm really enjoying the new album, Arcadia. Tell me a little bit about the process of putting this together.
Wow. Yeah, well, good question. It was this record, for whatever reason, I felt like I wanted to work longer on it. I wrote about over 40 songs for this one, and also did a bunch of these like long immersive retreats, where I'd go out into the woods, into the wilderness for like a week and just write, play music 16 hours a day. I'm a masochist. I like this kind of thing, and just keep going and really, really dig deep. It's a record that means a lot to me because I feel like it really shows people who I am.
You have 6 other albums and a series of EPs. You did some time during the pandemic where you were a staff writer on Music Row in Nashville. One of the series that you did music for was one that I have not seen called Virgin River that was on Netflix.
Well, my wife introduced me to that show, and of course I got addicted. At one point she said, you should tell your film and TV guy that your music would be great on there. So it was really a serendipity kind of situation for it to actually work. Got the news like about a week after my wife suggested that, so it was wonderful. I've done a ton over my career. You tend to forget a lot of them, but I was on quite a few other TV shows, Good Morning America, and different things here and there. I did a chicken commercial once, and they used my music and clucked all over it. Didn't even use my vocal. They still paid, though. The check cleared. You can do whatever you want over my... As long as that clears, man. Keeping with the right company if you're working with like Purdue Chicken or something, and they sell a lot of chickens. You stay open to all these things, and some things are more funny, but help keep the career going. A lot of things are, you need capital to keep this going, to keep making the music and to keep the lights on. A lot of things I look at as just part of the whole puzzle of making it all work.
Let's do a second song from the new album, Arcadia. This is called Burn the Boats.
Are the redwood trees ever in your dreams? Are the branches twisting higher in your mind? You hear an angel choir under cathedral spires. Do you remember how the world lit up when we crossed that borderline? And do you ever miss that fragile sun, the way you felt when there was no turning back? Somehow I know you'll ride with me again. When you come around, I'll meet you where the sky begins. And right now, if you're longing for the smoke, barely clinging to the ropes, light a match and burn the boats. Like a statue stands above the ancient sand. You can't bury all the fire inside of you. Seems everywhere you've been glows beneath your skin, like you're covered up from head to toe in invisible tattoos. I never want to force your hand. I think you know the time is running down. Somehow I know you'll ride with me again. When you come around, I'll meet you where the sky begins. Right now, if you're longing for the smoke, barely clinging to the ropes, light a match and burn the boats. There is no secret harbor, there is no perfect harbor. If we fall, we fall, we fall, we fall. Somehow I know you'll ride with me again. When you come around, I'll meet you where the sky begins. And right now, if you're longing for the smoke, barely clinging to the ropes, light a match and burn the boats. Light a match and burn the boats.
I want to talk a little bit about your online presence. You have some great social media. You've got a terrific website. It's called JesseTerryMusic.com. And let me make sure we spell that Terry, JesseTerryMusic.com. You can watch his videos, read his bio. You can also order signed copies of his albums and merchandise. Facebook.com/JTerryMusic. Instagram.com/Jesse Terry, YouTube.com, Jesse Terry Music. You can also get music from Apple Music, Amazon. You are also an author. You have written a children's book called If I Were the Moon. What gave you the inspiration to write this and how it all came about?
Well, my little girl was the inspiration, Lily. She just continues to rock my world. I can't believe how much I love her. I can't believe how wrapped around her finger I am. She just completely changed my whole life, really changed the person that I am. So I wrote her that song about protection and infinite love, the way that you can only understand once you experience that kind of love. Before COVID, my fans would always, you have to adapt that into a children's book. I always would say, oh, what a lovely idea. But in my head, I was thinking, what a silly, silly idea. When am I ever going to have time? I'm working around the clock. Before COVID, my wife toured with me. We were playing like 200 shows a year. I was playing, she was helping with the other parts of the business. But when COVID hit, I thought it was a brilliant idea. I really dug into it. I fell in love with the whole process. I got a publishing deal with Schiffer Publishing, set up with a wonderful artist in England, Jacqueline East. The whole process has been fantastic, and I'm hopefully going to do one, including my son, in the future.
Glad you mentioned Jacqueline East. Was she introduced to you by the publisher?
Yeah, it was one of those situations where we thought we should probably research and look at 200 different illustrators. And it was one of those great situations where the perfect illustrator was the very first link. It all worked out. I just think the world of her, and that's what she does. She lives above a chocolate factory and paints children's book. I feel so lucky that I was able to pick her brain because, like every other art form, there's a real art to it, and there's a science behind how big things are and where they're put, and she helps us so much. You're not going to have a good children's book without those illustrations.
Let's do a third song from this new album, Arcadia. This one is called Waiting Out the Hurricane.
Back in 85, we were ready for a firefight. Shotgun by the bedpost, gleaming in the moonlight. There were shadows dancing in the corner of our eyes. You and me praying somebody don't have to die. We were waiting out the hurricane till we could lie beneath the stars again. We were waiting out the hurricane, just me and you. Just me and you. We heard it did some time for a hold up down in Rockaway. We were trapped in the hell between a man and his judgment day. We had a sliver of a view huddled close underneath your bed. Our innocence ended in a symphony of blue and red. We were waiting out the hurricane till we could lie beneath the stars again. We were waiting out the hurricane, just me and you. Just me and you. Sometimes in the night I still wake up in a cold sweat, with a calm in my head that hasn't hit my heart yet. Do you have a long lost memory like a room that you painted black? And when you stumble on it, does it ever take you back? We were waiting out the hurricane till we could lie beneath the stars again. We were waiting out the hurricane, just
This song is pretty personal to you, isn't it, Jesse?
Yes.
One of your interviews talked a little bit about your youth, spending some time in a place where you learned to rehabilitate. I
Yes.
guess.
So I was sent away when I was about 12 to different programs, reform school kind of things. My life was very turbulent. My family was turbulent, just like so many people. I've realized over the years, there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's the human condition to have these different situations shaped who I am as a writer. So if anything, there's a gratitude towards it. It's helpful to write about it still to this day. I mean, this song actually was written over 20 years ago and always felt like it had something more to say. It was on an EP I released in college, and I got to go back in and rewrite it with my dear friend Craig Bighart, this wonderful Hall of Fame songwriter who's had like 9 top 10 hits. Ray Charles, Johnny Cash, I mean, a really serious songwriter. He came into the song with me and really helped me rewrite it, and now it's become one of my favorites off the new record.
You've obviously progressed a little bit. You graduated from the Berklee School of Music, no small feat in itself. You were also a winner of the John Lennon Songwriting Contest.
Over the course of a career, you lose so much more than you win. But if you look back on it, it starts becoming a really nice body of work. Over the course of 20 plus years, you start to see, I'm starting to do some things. And of all these contests I've entered, I won a few of them.
Jesse, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today. Let's do a 4th song on this new album called Arcadia. It's called Headlines. Thanks again for being with me today.
Thank you, Greg, so much.
Headlines fueling anger and the chaos that ensues. Headlines stoke the fear inside, designed to confuse. Headlines polarizing, make you choose a side. Headlines worded carefully, guaranteed to divide. And oh, my stars, how do we fall this far? How can we turn away? The devil's in the headlines. Headlines for the cash in, what glues us to the screen. Headlines on an endless loop that feeds the war machine. Oh, headlines like a poison, a pill we swallow down. Headlines pulling left and right when we need some common ground. And oh, my stars, how do we fall this far? How can we turn away? The devil's in the headlines. Believe the quiet voice. Oh, can you see the world's not all alarms and gasoline? Don't burn it down. Headlines are Goliath, armed with a wrecking ball. And headlines sow the seeds of doubt that keep us feeling small. And oh, my stars, how did we fall this far? How can we turn away? The devil's in the headlines. The devil's in the headlines.